Vala, you use yourself in the images that have been included in this exhibition. Do you always use your self-image within your works?
Since 1999, I have been using that, and before that I used to do like a thumb impression or foot impression, like impression of the body in the work.
Yes.
But later I started casting myself since 98, 99. And yeah, but the reason why I cast it became very different than where I started. Like in the beginning, it was about capturing the trace of me being in this body and just casting that as an artwork, as a future fossil. But now, the way how I use myself, it's more poetic expression rather than capturing the trace itself.
So can you talk a little bit more about that? So it's not so much the trace. So what actually do you see it more in being?
It's almost like I moved from inquiring about traces to perception and real, then now it is more about invisible. Things like, for example, gravity or a light or air or sound, all this thing is invisible. And being a person who is inquiring through the visual vocabulary of being an artist, then I thought how to bring those in the work. And sometimes the works are more poetic. For example, this gravity is a poetic expression of how things are just falling down, to the center of the earth or something towards. And sometimes it is in a different way, not always the self though nowadays.
Well, when you talk about that, one of the most alluring works is the single ear, is the silent sound in the exhibition, and that's a two-sided work.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that work?
Sure. Before this work, I like to talk about the other work which led me to do this one. And when I went to install the work in one of my solos, there was a nice solid big wall. And since my work is more to do like using the architecture as a part of the work, I always inspect the wall, whether it is a solid concrete wall or it is a false wall or a gypsum wall or whatever. So when I was checking, it was a plywood wall, but the appearance, the way how we live, we don't know the difference between the real wall and the artificial false wall. So, the constructed concrete wall and the plywood and gypsum wall. So, when I was looking at that big wall, I just thought that, wow, there is like more than few hundred cubic feet of space. The air is in, and it is sealed from all around, and it contains that. So, instead of doing some other work, I just went and stood in front of the wall and made 2 holes on the wall, and titled them breath. So that now the air comes out and goes in. So from there, this silent sound came, So now this wall is completely sealed and it is isolated, and the space inside is divided divided to the outside by having this gypsum wall. At the same time, the connection itself is the same. So by making this work, where it connects the inside. So these are the forms of the ear, but also it is almost like the sound from in coming out. So I call them silent sound.
Now, another work that we have got in the exhibition is Orifice, which isn't a plaster work, it's a work on paper.
Yeah.
How did you make this work, and what's the relationship between this work and the other works?
This work happened as a result of a conversation with my students in Cornell while I was teaching. They said, okay, you cast your body all the time, but how do you do it in printmaking, and especially in a class where they are exploring the new media like a scanner, printer, laser, engraving machine and all. So what I did, I just lie down on the big bed scanner. So once the whole body is scanned, wherever I'm having a contact with outside world, the in and out, like the ears or the eyes or nose or the mouth, So similarly, all orifice in the body, wherever those parts are, on the scanner itself, we just marked it, then made the laser burn on the paper. So the work is nothing but the exact same points where the in and out is connected. I was exploring the invisible, space, like, for example, the space between the object and the shadow, the way how it falls, casting this ways, or the path of the light, or other things. But now slowly it's moving into a direction where the sculpture is nothing but a see-through kind of a skin. So the space inside or the sculpture, the space outside, both are see-through, and the sculpture is in between, like a mesh-like sculptures. So these are weld metal, and the subjects are more about in, out, and in between. So these are like, dealing with all the layers of space. So the sculpture is basically connecting all the three spaces together.